VGK is back at home to play, as Bruce Cassidy calls it, a fairly intense game against the Florida Panthers, and the Golden Knights will have to do it without William Karlsson, who is out in the lineup. We'll talk about all that ahead right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We appreciate you doing so. Find us wherever you get your podcast, and please subscribe to the Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. FanDuel now offers new customers $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and get involved this NFL season. So, Chris, according to Bruce Cassidy, VGK will be minus for the next two games, Lars William Karlsson.
I'll take the over, but keep going. I'll take the over.
You always do, and you're always right. And you're always right. Lower body injury is what they said. And I was just joking on my napkin notes there that he tripped over one of Beckham's toys there from Christmas. They had a lot of toys under the tree. Okay, so what will VGK do to fill this void now at center? And then he also said, Cassidy alluded to the fact that Mark Stone will be with Stevenson and Marchessault will be back on the top line with Eichel and with Barbashev.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the top line has been the line that's been doing the most damage as of late, and Cassidy wants to get some better balance right now by putting Stone basically back on the line with Chandler Stevenson. And, Chandler Stevenson has been largely struggling besides a couple of small pockets. If you were to probably go back and look at Stevenson's game logs, his struggles probably began when he was taken off the line with Mark Stone, and coincidentally see how well things have been going for Jack Eichel. So Mark Stone definitely is pretty important to this team. I mean, God forbid he were to go down at some point. So we'll see how the balanced approach goes, and if they can, get a little more scoring from both of the top two lines. That's the goal, at least, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Cassidy just made a lot of sense. Again, well, he did talk about more practice time for the team. And again, in the center positions, though, who will be taking, who will the four centers be?
So basically Howden will be replacing Karlsson as far as the fourth center in the lineup. Now, I guess the main question...
Oh, it will be the Howden line. Okay, that's good.
Well, is it going to be the third line? Is Howden going to center, or are they going to move Nick Waugh from the fourth lineup and have Howden center the fourth line? So that's probably the big questions that need to be answered. And I mean, I could see moving Nick Waugh up a little bit, but Cassidy is pretty comfortable having Nick Waugh on that fourth line with Kolesar and Carrier too.
Man, I'll tell you what, Cassidy is just so honest. And he said, when his team got off to that quick start, they weren't playing well. He was concerned at that point. And now, of course, a lot of that has come true. But they're also, as he said, missing a lot of key players. Not an excuse, definitely not. Not a circumstance, nothing, but just honesty, I think. He said that they haven't had a starting goaltender in 4 to 5 weeks, which now that makes a ton of sense. And then he also talked a lot about Shea Theodore's absence, and they're definitely missing Shea Theodore. And he did mention, because he listens to this show, he talked about Pietrangelo, right? About how perhaps because Theodore is out now, Pietrangelo's got to be out there with the first team on the power play, and he's playing more minutes, and it's a trickle down sort of a situation where the minutes now that Pietrangelo was playing a ton of minutes before, but now he's playing even more because he's filling in for Theodore, but then more players down the line are having to play more minutes. That made a ton of sense to me when he explained it in that manner.
There's always a trickle down when this stuff happens. On the forward side, you see it's not just putting someone in to replace Karlsson. It's okay, they're going to change Mark Stone in March or so again. We saw this oddly enough, but we saw this when Kolesar missed a game. It caused an entire ripple through the second, third, and fourth line not too long ago. Some head scratching moves, definitely. So Cassie's got his work cut out for him. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. This is shades of season 5 right now. This is
Yeah,
really shades of season 5 right now. And the team was okay
is.
up until about this points. And then this is really like right about now. I mean, I have to look at the game log, of course, for season 5, but this is about when the cliff came. And I'm not saying the cliff is coming in season 7. Maybe it is. I don't know. But this could be an important moment right now. And I'm with you. We've been talking about Theodore and his importance to this team. I mean, Cassidy said he can create a breakout by himself, whether it's that perfect first pass or just simply skating the puck out of the zone by himself.
So, on William Karlsson's injury, do we know what happened there? Did he get hit by one of those fish what the fishermen were throwing around? Did he trip because he was dancing to Sir Mix-a-Lot? Do we have any clue on what might have happened there?
The only
He was
thing
injured in
I
the Seattle game.
saw there's a fan puffing their chest right now that they made a comment. Oh, looks like William Karlsson's limping on the entrance. I don't mean like the uniform entrance, but the day they showed the team all walking in, like in the back of house. So I don't know. We'll see. I should look at the shift report and see if there is something that tells you during the game where something could have happened, but this might just be a lingering issue and they might just be shutting down. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not just one game. They said it's 2 through the weekend, which was pretty interesting. It's not like, he's a little dinged up. And then, of course, he's played an important role, especially on that second-ish third line. And then Kolesar also missed practice with an illness, and who knows if he's going to be able to go.
It seems like he's going to be fine. Cassidy was very confident that Kolesar will go. If not, I'm sure Ron Bjerg will be waiting in the wings. Ron Bjerg is in the lineup on Wednesday for the Silver Knights. So I would expect tomorrow you'll see Ron Bjerg get called up. And the reason he's playing tonight for the Silver Knights is because he's probably not playing tomorrow for the Golden Knights unless it's, Kolesar's illness continues.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, though. And to me, though, too, you said it's shades of season 5. To me, we just have to go back to a season ago when right before the All-Star break, this team was falling apart, and then they regrouped, and then they came back and just started to steamroll teams in the second half.
You have the falling apart with the injuries. It's compounding right now. It's a concern.
Yeah, definitely a concern for the VGK. And again, it's just going to be interesting on how they now fill in those blanks. I mean, we were just talking about, well, they're not finding anyone consistent to play that left wing. And now you have issues with on the second line. And now you have issues with the second and third lines. And I think it's going to be better on the top line, though. I think your top 6 should be pretty good in a game against Florida. I think Marchessault and Eichel, I like that combination, and I think they're gonna have some juice in the game against Florida.
If there's a positive opportunity can lead to another player shining, maybe Mike Amadio steps up. Maybe Howden, if assuming he's going to be the center of one of these lines, maybe Howden steps up. Dorofeyev is going to get some more time to hopefully make an impression. So that's what I look forward to when stuff like this happens. And, this feels like the LA game, right? I haven't looked at the odds yet, but everyone thought the Kings were going to come into Vegas, best road team, only one road loss the entire season. And the Golden Knights beat them 3-2 in a game that they controlled for the most part. So don't be surprised if the Golden Knights do have a really strong effort and do win on Thursday night.
Coming up next, well, Bruce Cassidy said yesterday that his team definitely needs a physical game against Florida coming up on Thursday night. He said sometimes you get punched in the face, and that gets you going. He wants his team to get punched in the face, I guess.
We'll talk about that right now, but yeah.
When we return right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Fans, it's almost the halfway point of the season. That's hard to believe. That's coming up in 4 games. Regardless of where we are at in the current standings, tied for first place-ish, I use that word ish a lot. I got to quit that this year. We want to remind you that you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for the daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contest. What players would you like to take this week to win 100 times your money? I would go number one with Nathan McKinnon. He's just on fire lately. Of course, studs again like Jack Eichel and Mark Stone, Austin Matthews, who is leading the league in goals. A lot of good information here happening. Of course, to win 100 times your bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard us, VGK fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention. Nail your picks so that you can start winning big. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. You'll get up to $100 match on your very first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Welcome back, Locked On Golden Knights, this edition. Of course, we appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget WTF, What the Friday, that happens every Friday, and the Chris and Chris Show, the YouTube exclusive. Subscribe there. That's every Saturday morning. So Bruce Cassidy believes that both VGK and Florida play a lot better when he says the temperature goes up. So when they're heated, he thinks it makes for a better game.
It's going to be a freaking steam room out there.
It's going to be fun. We could see some carryover from the end of last game. All I remember at the end, where there were I think 6 penalties at the end of the game, misconducts, and it ended with Mark Stone glaring and then chirping at the Florida bench, and he wouldn't leave the ice for a while, and the refs had to finally get him to leave. But that's how that game ended. There's some bad blood there, and it's going to make for a real interesting game between VGK and Florida.
There's animosity. Coach Cassidy has talked about this when the Golden Knights played the Jets, talked about when the Golden Knights played the Stars. When you end a team's season, they certainly don't forget that. Obviously, when the Stanley Cup is involved, it magnifies things 3, 4, 5,000 times more. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun game, but the Golden Knights cannot get lost in the fact that they need 2 points. Yeah, this would be an easy spot for the team to come unwound, given the injuries, given the players or players are going to be missing from the game. If things don't go well, if the Golden Knights do fall behind early, they might just start looking to take penalties and, inflict pain instead of the main task in hand, and that's finding a way for 2 points. They have to find a way to make this game competitive.
They always talk about these games being really a lot of fiery action and what have you. And then I think it kind of lets us down because neither team will want to be in the penalty box in a game like this because they want to win, right? And Florida's won 5 straight, and VGK is 1-5 in their last 6. So this is a big turnaround game, bounce back game, if you will, for the VGK in this contest.
It's the right game at the right time. I mean, the Golden Knights need whatever juice they can find. I'd rather see the Golden Knights play a team like the Panthers or the Oilers right now versus the Arizona Coyotes, a team where there's just not that same juice, that same drive, that same animosity. So that could definitely help, which is why the Kings game was the perfect game at the perfect time. And you mentioned the Panthers and their winning streak. That started when they beat the Golden Knights a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, for sure. 5 straight games, 5 wins. And the last time the Panthers were on this sheet in this barn, they lost in game 5 in the Stanley Cup final. So they're going to be thinking about that as well. So I think it just adds to a lot of the drama. This could be the matchup of the season for the VGK, just based on, some history now that we have. And I just think, Tkachuk wasn't as active as you think he might have been in that first meeting. So I think we might be hearing from him. A lot of fireworks in that first meeting. Carter Verhaeghe had the game winner, the wrister from the left circle, but it was Jere Patera who was in net. A reminder there. And VGK went 0-3 on that trip, on the road trip. It was not Logan Thompson. So LT expected to start, I'm sure.
How about Paul Cotter and the takedown on Kachuk at the end of the game, too? I mean,
Pretty interesting. There's so many good sidebars, right? And a lot of good action and different things. And of course, we saw the one punch KO of KO Lasar. KO Lasar. That's what I call him now because he got knocked out by Lomberg.
I mean,
Was that bad?
Kolesar. Okay, so Kolesar takes the
KO
one.
Lasar.
Kolesar takes the one
Lasar.
punch. Karlsson is out there throwing his versions of punches at the end of the game.
And then
They're
he
both
gets
not at
blocked.
practice today, Tony. Is this a strategic move right now?
No. I think they're scared. They might be scared, dude, to be playing against this team.
Who knows?
Might have been intimidating. I think an early part of this game to set the stage, a major factor in that first meeting, Florida, Chris, took 15 of the first 16 shots on net. They got that early jump. It's going to be important for VGK to get out there and to have that early jump in this game. There were 6 penalties at that end of the game melee, if you will. But Cotter really stood his own. So the way that this series has been going, there's a lot of retaliation here that carried over from game to game, as we remember in the Cup final. And then it even carried over into the new season here. So I think it could be a lot of fun. But again, you don't want to be in the penalty box in a game like this because you don't want to risk giving your team a disadvantage, right?
You don't want to be the guy when the refs decide to start taking one, you're the one that they take. And that's one of the other ways refs can control games. They just start taking one player at a time instead of calling both players. And you don't know which guy the ref is going to take. The ref doesn't even know which guy they're going to take. So that's the game within the game right now. And at the end of the day, 2 points are what matters, not penalties, not inflicting pain when the ref isn't looking and stuff like that. And the Golden Knights know that.
Who was that? Sam Bennett on Vegas Bjorn, I think it was. Yeah, in that fight.
Yeah, because he got in there. Karlsson got in there and threw a couple, and then he was in a bad spot.
And then he got rocked. And then Bennett is holding Marchessault and still delivering punches on Karlsson. Oh my goodness!
I love hockey.
Well, Karlsson used to be a protected player. Let's face it. So he could chirp, do whatever he wanted to do, and he had Reeves behind him. He also had some other muscle behind him, but in that situation,
he was a 40-goal scorer. 40 goal scorers get different treatment.
Coming up next on today's show, we will have our locks of the night and predictions. And I'm also going to ask you, Chris, because the NHL will announce one player from each team that will be an all-star. Who might it be for VGK? Yeah, we'll get into that next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights. The weather gets colder, of course. The National Football League, it offers a lot now as we head into the playoff season, the postseason, if you will. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins on FanDuel. And if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get into the action than right now. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of all sorts of betting options, including spreads, player props, totals, and much, much more. So don't forget, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make sure that you get going here for the NFL postseason, the final game of the season coming up this upcoming weekend for each team. It's that time of the year heading to Super Bowl 58 right here in Vegas. Go to FanDuel, FanDuel.com, the official betting partner of the National Football League. Welcome back, Locked On Golden Knights. This Thursday edition that we are recording on Wednesday night. Thank you, Mr. Golick, for doing so with me. You read my napkin.
We'll get through this. We'll get through this.
Yeah, you're a little under the weather, I can tell too.
Headache, migraine, something. It's getting a little better, but just not
all
fun.
right. You still have that whiskey there too, right? Maybe could help you. I don't know. Don't forget, of course, Friday's WTF with the Friday, Saturdays the Chris and Chris show. That's on YouTube. That is the YouTube exclusive there. Before we get into our locks and predictions, one NHL player will be named coming up on Thursday as an all-star from each and every team. So we put that question out on our Twitter handle, X handle, and we got a lot of responses, but the overwhelming leader heading into the clubhouse was Jack
Eichel.
Eichel.
It's got to be
Yeah,
Eichel. I mean,
it's got to be Eichel because they want a superstar too. They want a superstar in that game.
there's no way it's not Eichel. I mean, unless for some reason Aiden Hill were to get the bump, but that would be kind of weird.
Wait, but hang on. Was Willie Karlsson having BLTs with Bill Foley lately? You never know, man. You never know with this team. Remember, they were stiffing Stevenson for a while there. So, yeah, it's got to be Jack Eichel. Definitely having
Probably.
a super season. Also, it was HSK's Adam Cracknell who was selected as one of the playing captains for the AHL All-Star game. And
pretty
that
awesome.
is a prestigious placement there for him because it's named by the commissioner of the AHL, the president of the AHL. So that's really good news. Congrats to him. It's that time. It is time for our locks of the night and our predictions. So are the kiddos around or no?
Nah, they're upstairs. They're getting ready for bed.
Oh, it's that time. Okay.
It's
All
that
right.
time. It's that time.
All right. So VGK, we're going to see LT rather than the other guy who played in the last meeting.
LT is the other guy. What are you talking about?
Now he is the other guy. There's so
Without our
much
starter for
buildup.
4 or 5 weeks.
Again, there's just so much buildup around this game. I'm going to go 2 players, and I will stick with Barbashev and Marchessault. Okay. And I'm going to have an overtime decision, and I'm going to go with the VGK 4-3, just because they just play so much better in this barn. And I think that they need to be focused in this contest and get things headed in the right direction and really make sure that out of the next 6 games, 6 out of 7 that they're playing here at home, that they come up with a winning total here at the end of this upcoming stretch. So I think it's important for VGK. They're now chasing points, at the top of the division, and they really do need to get back on track. And Cassidy, he is a little bit concerned about, is this slump due to the fact that they're here and that they are Stanley Cup champions? And there could be a letdown. Okay, maybe the hangover came a little bit late. Maybe it came late this season.
It's a great perspective to point that out because it hasn't been talked about all season, right? I mean, it's been talked about maybe in media and stuff like that, but this is the first time Cassidy has mentioned, hey, this team needs to find that gear right now. They need to shift out of first or second gear, whatever gear this is, and find it. And that's why the Panthers are coming at a very good time, given what's going on. I was going to say 5-3, but the Golden Knights are going to give up a 6-on-5 goal. So it's, pardon me, it's going to be a 5-4 Golden Knights victory, regulation, barely. Let's go with the second line. Let's see if Stevenson and Stone can rekindle some of their magic.
That would be good. Stevenson definitely needs, to get back on track here, and as do the VGK. And we'll see.
Do we want to set over under penalty minutes too?
We should.
I feel like 58 and a hook.
58 and a hook. Yeah, it just depends. As soon as one team starts getting into that penalty mode, right, or starts a fight or something, it just doesn't end, right? Like the last game, to me, that was such an entertaining game because there was just so many things going on. We need those wide shots on TV, please, so that we could see action on both ends of the ice.
The benches will be chirping, the line changes. You better watch out going into the pits. I mean, it's going to be ugly out there.
Yeah, I don't think will there be a fight at the drop of the puck or no?
Well, that'd be pretty awesome.
That would be fun, right?
That'd be really
we haven't
cool,
had one of those in a while.
Line brawl. Who was it? Rangers Devils? Is that who did it a few years ago?
Last year, I think. Yeah, or a couple of years ago.
I know just all 5 players dropped the gloves the second the puck dropped. Oh my God, it was great.
Isn't that the best?
It is.
I could see Kachuk going after Kolasar. right there from the jump. Maybe.
Well, they didn't. No, they did play the first game because Kolesar missed the first couple of games of the trip, and then he played that game. But yeah, I mean, listen, if Kolesar wants to drag Kachuk to the box for 5 minutes at a pop, that's a win.
Okay, so we had Kachuk, the hit on Eichel, Kolesar, the hit on Kachuk, and Cotter now the hit in retaliation.
Takedown, takedown.
Okay, that was a good takedown, though. That was really strong. So I'm just curious what happens with Kachuk in this game. That should be fun, though.
He becomes unhinged, does something stupid, probably gets a goal, and doesn't finish the game on the bench.
Would be fun. You're going to be there, right? You'll be in attendance?
Unless whatever I got going on now kicks up any worse. But yeah, I'll be there.
All right, man. Feel better. And we appreciate it, of course.
We'll make it. We'll make it.
And then thanks to our everydayers. Without you, no telling where we would be. We're off to a really strong start here for 2024 with all of you downloading our podcast. We can't thank you enough. And of course, watching us on the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. From my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We'll see you again tomorrow with a recap of VGK and the Panthers right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Take care.